Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So another day, another investment. We are definitely in that zone in 2021 where we're seeing a lot of venture capital money coming into the blockchain game sector. And today we are talking about IMMUTABLE. So IMMUTABLE, based out of Australia, used to be called back in the day actually Fuel Brothers. They were called, and then they became IMMUTABLE. I guess best known for being the studio behind Gods Unchained, the big trading card game. And they have done their Series B round. So Series B, obviously, we normally go through a sort of angel round where you sort of raise money sort of from sort of friends and family. They go through a sort of seed round, although that can be various seed rounds. You go for Series A and then Series B. So this is sort of their second sort of big round. And obviously $60 million is a fairly large sum of money, although actually in the blockchain game space, not actually that big, as we've seen previously. To date, the biggest raises have been Dapper Labs did 305 million at the start of the year. Anyway, so what's going on here? So IMMUTABLE, it develops games, but it also has this its own sort of blockchain, its own what we call layer 2 scaling solution called IMMUTABLE X, and there's a lot of sort of talk about scaling, and this mainly relates to Ethereum. So Ethereum is still Ethereum version 1, I guess we would call it. It's moving to Ethereum 2, which will be a proof of stake solution with will be much faster, and it will have various sort of scaling technologies sort of built into it. And that process is sort of happening at the moment. But in the meantime, and potentially also useful in the future, that the idea is people will sort of use Ethereum as a sort of a sort of security system, because it has the best security, but because it's slow and gas fees are very expensive, especially for games. Then if you want to have stuff happening on chain, you need to have a sort of what we call a layer 2. So it sits obviously on top of the layer 1. So this is what these guys have been doing in Australia for a while now. IMMUTABLE X as a chain has been launched for a few months now. And now they've raised this money to sort of scale out that, and also sort of help them building out games and things as well. So total funding now is $77.5 million. That's obviously adding everything together. So who's actually investing? So a few familiar names here. So Bitcraft Ventures. So Bitcraft Ventures are interesting in the sense they're not really they've only started investing in blockchain stuff fairly recently. So they were out of Germany, sort of originally sort of very focused on esports gaming. So they did a lot of investment into esports. Esports is a bit of a messy sector still. It's all very popular, but very hard to sort of generate profit on. So they sort of switched a bit from esports into normal games, and now they've switched quite aggressively into blockchain over the last really 6 months. So they've been doing quite aggressively into such kind of things. That they big investor into Yield Guild, for example. River City King River Capital. Don't know so much about them. They're not a sort of specific games investor. Proceus is actually what was called Naspers back in the day, and actually they were one of the original investors into IMMUTABLE back in the day. Galaxy Interactive, they're pretty well known in the game and crypto space. They're actually funded out of the original EOS token sale. Fabric, pretty well known in the blockchain space. Almeida Research, also pretty well known in the crypto space. That's Sam Bankman-Fried's original sort of organisation, obviously heavily linked to FTX exchange, and they're got loads of value to invest at the moment. Vayner Fund, interesting. Gary V, obviously now heavily into NFTs with his V friends. There's a whole bunch of other angels as well who they don't seem to have listed here, I think. But anyway, so some sort of big names involved from the crypto and gaming space. What they're going to do with the money, they're going to expand their global engineering and sales team, strengthen key partnerships with gaming companies, scale the growth of their in-house games, Gods Unchained and Guild of Guardians. So you mentioned Gods Unchained already, sort of a game that is a bit difficult in the sense that they sort of launched it and now trying to sort of rebuild it. because yeah, it's kind of hard to. The more stuff you put on chain, the harder it is to sort of create a balanced experience. So I'm having some issues with that. Guild of Guardians, spoken to them recently. They're a mobile first game, not really first playable won't be till 2022. So quite a long way to go on that one. I think the original kind of roadmap says it's not actually out properly till 2023. So again, they've been selling NFTs in Guild of Guardians, but that's quite a long way to go as well. So so sort of two projects that have their own sort of what's the term? Their own sort of different momentum going on here. So what's going on here? Well, we're going to have a thing about the whole NFT market, which is fine. A big issue now, for some people at least, is whether you're carbon neutral or not. Obviously, Ethereum isn't carbon neutral, but immutable. I don't quite know how they're carbon neutral. We could probably click through and find out about that. They're probably offsetting, I would imagine. So you always have to be careful with sort of PR stuff. It's not always necessarily exactly truthful. I'm not sure I'd agree with the statement that Immutable X is the first layer 2 scaling solution for NFTs on Ethereum. I think Polygon might have something to say about that. It doesn't really matter, really, does it? But as soon as anyone in a press release says this is the first, probably there's always someone who's going to say no, it's not. It doesn't really matter. So for people who are interested in the technical stuff, Immutable X is using this thing called ZK rollups, zero knowledge rollups, and that's just a sort of technique of really batching together Ethereum transactions or it's batching together transactions that you can roll onto Ethereum. So you get the fast throughput because you're batching stuff together, but you're doing it through Ethereum. So you're getting the security. There's a company called Starkware who are pretty much seem to be the standard, or one of the standard solutions for using this ZK rollups technology. So lots of people are using Starkware. SoRare, the football game, are using them, and a bunch of the DeFi platforms as well. So that seems to be a good solution. Last month, 600 million was hacked from less secure scaling solutions. Yeah, that's a bit odd though, because that was nothing to do with games, and that wasn't NFTs. That was just a sort of badly set up thing called Poly Network. But anyway, I wouldn't put that in my press release, but I didn't write the press release, so there we go. So Robbie Ferguson, co-founder with his brother, NFT trading is a terrible mainstream experience right now. Well, I don't mean my mainstream. We're not mainstream. It's expensive, illiquid, and the scaling solutions compromise on security and base layer. So I guess what's interesting is I think from my point of view, technically having a layer 2 solution at the moment is sort of required, particularly for if you want to trade very expensive NFTs. So if you want to trade your Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs that start at whatever they start at these days, $100,000, then you want to do that on Ethereum because it's got the best security, and the fact it's going to cost you $100 in gas fees, you don't care because you're trading $100,000 kind of asset. So actually, Ethereum is great for high value NFTs. It's never been better. But the issue for sort of game NFTs is clearly you don't want them to be. You might want some to be $100,000, but you want some to be maybe $1. So that's the interesting kind of problem for games at the moment. If you want to run on Ethereum and you want to have dollar assets, that doesn't work because the gas fees are more expensive than the assets, so no one trades them. And the most important thing about a blockchain is people are transacting and trading, and you have trading volume. That's the heartbeat of any blockchain project, certainly a blockchain game. So you do need a layer 2. People are using Polygon at the moment. The sort of idea is that's not as technically advanced as something like Immutable X yet, because it's using Starkware. I mean, Polygon over time will use its own, will have its own ZK rollup solution. So everyone's going to get there at some point. But what you want is you do want something technically that's obviously going to be secure and fast. But the other issue is you need anyone can sort of come up with a blockchain. Blockchains are not that difficult to create really. And what you want is, why would I be using your blockchain rather than someone else's blockchain? And that could be for developers and users. And the reason users care is because there's a product on that blockchain, that layer 2 solution that they like. So this is sort of the chicken and egg thing, I guess. For you need to sort of create a layer 2 solution in order for developers to use it, and you need to have good tooling and good sort of customer support and all that sort of stuff. But for developers are only going to use something that has users on it, has players on it. So this is the sort of thing, I guess, now that this money is used for, is Immutable and has to get a bunch of developers to have product on there. Otherwise, They could have the best L2 in the world, and if there's no product on it, sort of no one cares. So this is why this sort of money, where this money needs to be deployed, is it needs to be basically talking to game developers and saying, right, don't go on Flow or don't go on Polygon. You need to come to our they don't necessarily need to be funding games, although that probably is a part of that. But they need to really be encouraging developers to go. We're going to have the best technical solution, and we're also going to have hundreds of thousands of users with billions of dollars of value on there. So this is the interesting thing that they really need to work on now. So what can we see that's already going to be deployed on Immutable X? So at the moment, sort of Gods Unchained stuff has been minted on there, and some of the stuff from Guild of Guardians, the NFTs are on there. The games aren't on there yet, as far as I know. Certainly not for Guild of Guardians, because it's not finished yet. So we've got Gods Unchained, we know about. So OpenSea is going to support Immutable X. That's sort of useful, but it's we'll see. That's sort of. I mean, OpenSea is pretty much it's used for high value Ethereum items at the moment. I don't think the UI is quite set up for low value game items really. Anyway, Mintable, that's an NFT sort of a minting marketplace. That's sort of nice, but it's not mass market. These fashion NFT things. Interesting, but fashion NFTs, not my sort of thing. There's the Economy VV collectibles. That's this licensed collectible thing, which is currently, I don't even know what platform they're on at the moment. It's sort of a mobile sort of collectible thing, which I don't think is very mass market yet. Metal TV is an interesting sort of clip website, sort of like a clip version of Twitter, of Twitch. Again, not quite sure what volume of users it's got. High Rise, I don't know about this one. This is a social sandbox sort of thing. Token Trove, another collectible marketplace. Super Farm with DeFi, NFT Farm, and Epix GG, another market. So there's a whole bunch of NFT stuff here. I'm not sure that this gets me as a sort of gamer very excited. So there's some other stuff down here, which it's kind of weird they put this right at the bottom, because there's some other stuff going on here. So we had Super Farm and Epix. So we got Illuvium, really interesting auto battle RPG. That's going to be, looks like, launching some stuff at the end of 2021. Lucid Sight, who sort of were early into blockchain games and then sort of got out and seem to be coming back in again with NBA basketball. MLB Champions Basketball. Crypto Space Commander, which is being rebooted by Animoca Brands. War Riders, a game that's been developed for a long time. PC, sort of a kind of Mad Max type sort of vehicle combat game, which apparently is a sort of gaining audience again. And Double Jump, the My Crypto Heroes guys apparently are going to be using it as well. Which I thought they were using Flow, so I don't know. It's all a bit of a sort of up and down at the moment. Illuvium, I guess, is the best known of all these games at the moment. So that'll be the one, I think, with the Immutable X. That'll be the first chance we see. Is Immutable X gonna get a lot of audience, and is it going to get a lot of value on there? But really, you need. You even see with Polygon at the moment, which is sort of been around for much longer, and it has some high profile games on there. But I still don't get the impression there's a high volume of players on that blockchain sort of doing things, and that's really the power of Ethereum. Maybe not for gaming so much, but the power of Ethereum as a sort of place, certainly to launch NFTs, is still I think often underestimated. Anyway, we'll see. It's always good to have $60 million to spend. The other thing to notice is whenever people say $60 million, it seems like an enormous sum of money. One, if your competitors have more money than you, then they can sort of outcompete you. So sometimes you have to be a little bit careful about how $60 million is spent. And it's very easy, as we all know, to spend money. If you have a lot of money, you can spend it very easily, and not always in the best way. So it will be interesting to see how this stuff is deployed. And I do definitely think for these layer 2 solutions, time is of the essence, because as soon as it kind of ETH2 gets up and running, then you'll definitely see a sort of swing. The pendulum of momentum will sort of come back to ETH, and people may not be deploying entire games on chain there. But I think the kind of advantage of layer 2s will probably lessen. So they do have to kind of strike while the iron's hot and actually have some high profile stuff going on. So I guess $60 million buys you some of that. Anyway, thanks for listening, watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel, all about blockchain games. Thanks for watching. See you again.